Hello and welcome to I think this is either the 7th edition or you call it like the second half of the 6th edition of the Two Black Two Nerdy podcast. I'm your host, Kris.
I'm the co-host, Kris.
And today we were just going to go over talking about some movies we've seen and the trailers for upcoming movies we're excited for. And I went on an interesting trip I can also talk about, and pretty much anything else. So I guess like life updates and stuff. So first I want to talk about Guardians 2 came out back in May, I believe.
Yep.
Kris, you have a chance to see it?
I really enjoyed it. I know I talked to a lot of people that said they liked this one more than the first, and I don't know if I agree. Like, it was still really good. I still think the first one was better just because it was such a surprise how good it was. And it's hard to really start off with an ensemble piece and make it good.
Yeah,
you know?
I'd have to agree. I think the second one may technically be a better film. Like, the second movie definitely had more character development, that kind of stuff. But I think the first one was just such a surprise hit, because no one knew who the Guardians were. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one knew. Except for, those hyper comic book fans. And for a movie to kind of come out of nowhere with an ensemble cast, which, I mean, and they didn't have even that many, like, heavy hitter, type actors. I mean, Chris Pratt, when that came out, he was a guy from Parks and Rec, He's blown up really since Guardians and been in a lot of different stuff. But I enjoyed it. I actually liked Ego, the Living Planet, as a villain. Marvel has such a low bar for villains. I actually liked him better than a lot of the recent villains we've gotten. What was your opinion on Ego?
I mean, I sort of didn't even go into Guardians thinking about a villain. So probably if I would have realized that Kurt Russell would have been the villain. But I mean, it is what it is. He wasn't spectacular. I think he was dumb in saying that he was the one that killed his mom. Should have known better than that.
Why did he admit that? That's the thing. I like that he did that, but no, it didn't make sense for him to admit that.
Right.
That's just movie villains just being dumb. Because I like the fact that he did. I mean, the idea that he's been going around, like, seducing all these women across the galaxy, and he killed his mom, like, that act, like, when they revealed that, I'm like, man, okay, like, man, Eagle's a douche. But, like, I agree that him revealing that didn't necessarily make a ton of sense. It should have been a thing, like, that, Star-Lord, that, like, he discovered, you know what I mean?
Right, being connected to him.
Yeah. He should have, like, seen that. He should have been like, you killed my mom. Like, what? That would have been, I think that would have made a little more sense. But, I'm trying to think of, like, it's hard for me. It's been a while. I'm trying to remember. I like the gold aliens, how they were, they're controlling the ships like a video game. I thought that was funny. That was a good joke.
Cool. I didn't like how they created Adam Warlock at the end. I needed Adam Warlock for Infinity War, but no, Marvel, you're not going to give me that.
Yeah, I have no idea. They're not going to, apparently he's not going to show up until Guardians 3, whenever that is. I'm trying to think. I enjoyed, Drax. Drax was really good in this. I think he was a lot better than the first one, because he was not my favorite Guardian in the first movie. But he had great comedic timing.
Right, and then another thing was with Mantis, and when he was talking about his daughter, he's like has this content or sort of like smile on his face, and Mantis touches him, and she just starts crying. It showed the emotional depth of Drax, how much pain he's dealing with.
Yeah, definitely. But I think Drax stood out in this one. Baby Groot was good for a comedy. Rocket was good. Yondu, I liked him a lot better in this one than the first movie.
Yeah.
What was his line? He was like, he may be your father, but he ain't your daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He may have been your father, boy, but he
ain't your daddy.
Yeah.
I'm Mary Poppins.
That was.
So
does Piccolo.
Yeah, Mary Poppins, y'all. Yeah, I enjoyed I enjoyed him. I liked his I liked the Viking funeral in space. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yep.
And I guess like Sylvester Stallone and the people he was with, like those other Ravagers, those were supposed to be like the original comic Guardians team. I read somewhere.
And Yondu was a part of the original Guardians as well.
And Yondu was okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then the guy with the ice crystal face or whatever, that was Michael Rosenbaum.
Okay.
From Smallville and voiced the Flash in Justice League.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah. And then Miley Cyrus was the decapitated head robot thing.
Yeah, I read about that. Trying to think of the other characters. Gamora and her sister, I thought were fine. I think they were probably the least interesting out of the Guardians this time. That's just me.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, I would have liked to have seen more. I mean, it was interesting to get more of their backstory with Thanos and that kind of stuff. But I mean, I'm at the point now. I just want to get to Thanos. You know.
Yeah.
So I wish we got a little. I understand they decide. I think they told James Gunn they had to hold off on Thanos stuff because of Infinity War. But I would have liked to have seen a little more of that, even if it was just like a flashback for Gamora or something like that. As them as children, I think that would have been neat to see.
And that's one of my problems with this, how they've set up the universe is we don't really have a reason to fear Thanos if you don't know comics.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. Because, I mean, if you read the backstory, it is tragic how Thanos pretty much, destroys these worlds and just kidnaps these girls. And they're essentially, like, he calls them his daughters, but they're essentially, like, his slaves. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that is, like, an interesting story. And I wish we could have seen a little more, because even with, what's Gamora's sister? Nebula, that's her name. Like, they actually explain, like, why she's, like, robotic, because every time she failed, he took an organic part of her and replaced it, like, with a robot part. Like, that's interesting, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I wish we could have seen more of that from them. I mean, I still enjoyed the film for what it was, but I do think they could have had a better backstory, and I felt like this movie was almost like a side story. Like, it didn't feel as connected to any of the other movies especially as even the first Guardians was.
Right.
Yeah. But you got any other thoughts on Guardians 2?
It was still a good film. So we're gonna get. It's not. James Gunn said it's not teenage Groot. It's tween Groot. And that's gonna be the one in Infinity War.
Yeah, tween Groot. Yeah, that was a good post credits. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting to see. But I still worry about all the quipping.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we can actually talk about some of that getting in. If we're going to talk about we can talk about Wonder Woman next, and then the trailers. But so if you don't have anything else to say, we can get into Wonder Woman.
Yeah, let's get into Wonder Woman.
All right, so Wonder Woman, the movie that is right now the lifeline of the franchise.
Yeah, I would. People keep saying that. I don't exactly agree. Because no matter how good Wonder Woman was, if Justice League tanks...
it's still bad. Yeah.
And so that's where we are with that. Wonder Woman was fantastic. I'm not comparing it to any other DC movie because it shouldn't be. And people want to say, oh, it's stolen from Captain America. But
not really.
No.
Not really, because, like... Captain America was more of like a propaganda piece and that kind of stuff, and Wonder Woman had much more like mystical elements and stuff involved,
Right, and so people are like, oh, well, the Germans the Hydra was powered by a cosmic entity, but I'm like, not in the same way.
Not in the same way. And also, the moral of Wonder Woman was different, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I like the idea of, first of all, I thought the island was beautiful. I enjoyed the scenes of the Amazons, and I like the because people make fun of DC for like the gray filter,
Mm-hmm.
But the gray filter actually worked when they went to London, and when they went to the war, because it showed the contrast between the beautiful paradise and, man's world, which, especially during, you're talking about, was it London wartime, was really crappy.
And you're talking about fresh off the Industrial Revolution.
Oh yeah,
really
smog,
great,
all that stuff. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of, and I liked, because we don't see a lot of movies that deal with World War One. Typically we see World War Two because it's like America versus Nazis, good versus evil. But like, if you read about World War One was just a mess. Like everybody died.
Yep, everybody had alliances which drawed them in. The only reason why there are a few reasons why America got into it, but,
Well, and it was also, like, I believe, don't quote me on this, it wasn't like the beginning of modern warfare as well. As far as, like, planes and that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Wasn't it part of the transition?
War with planes in it, but the thing that made World War One stand out, because Europe had been engulfed in warfare for like several hundred years, so that wasn't anything different. But it was just the fact that everybody became allies with other people, and then one war between two small nations engulfed all the bigger nations, and it was a domino effect.
Yeah, and it went on for, yeah.
You just had so much aggression, which is one thing to see Ares at how he said he was just like, I just let men play on their own natural forces.
Yeah, and I like the moral of the, that moral of the story too, that, you would think that, like, Ares, I mean, this, at least the way I saw it, is that, Wonder Woman thinks that Ares is literally the source of, like, all war everywhere, but part of that, really is the nature of humanity, you know what I mean? And the nature of, like, people are always going to fight, and for Diana having to learn that and having to see that in her grow, I thought was just, a really interesting message.
Right.
War is bad. I really enjoyed Steve Trevor. I thought Chris Pine did a good job.
Yeah, seeing this, he was originally pegged to be Hal Jordan, but then he turned it down so he could be Steve Trevor. And so now after seeing this, it's like, I could see him as Hal Jordan.
I could see him as, I mean, he was also, they're both pilots, but yeah.
Right.
Well, I liked it because, like, in the comics, Steve Trevor's first introduced, he was supposed to be, like, the male equivalent to, like, a Lois Lane. Like, he was, like, this adventurer guy who'd always get kidnapped, and Wonder Woman would save him. But I liked that he was a pretty competent soldier, you know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of the movie was him and Wonder Woman working together, because obviously, Wonder Woman, as far as America's concerned, is kind of like this big symbol for, like, the women's rights movement and whatnot. And, there's controversy with, like, feminism and that kind of stuff. And I like that they didn't have to, like, dumb down the men to make Wonder Woman seem, strong. Because that trope, I think, is tired and used in a lot of, like, quote-unquote, like, girl power movies. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where, like, if the woman is super strong and badass, all the guys just have to be just, like, dumb and, like, dopey. Like, you ever watch, like, Kim Possible? You remember Ron? Like, stuff like that. And I feel like that is, like, a tired trope that kind of needs to die. Because at the end of the day, at least for me, I like it when men and women are working together for a common goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the flipping of the trope, regardless of whether it's, a man, and then you have the ditzy girl, or you have the lovesick girl, or whatever. So they're just flipping that trope. But you always have the hero and the bumbling sidekick. And, it's like, the sidekicks can be competent.
Exactly. And it's not like it takes away from it being Wonder Woman's movie, Right. And she kind of inspires them, when, especially, everybody likes the No Man's Land scene when she first really goes into battle, She inspires all those other soldiers to fight.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, and eventually, Steve, spoilers, he dies and sacrifices himself. And that's what inspires Wonder Woman to keep fighting when she's fighting Ares and that kind of stuff. So I liked how, like, that to me is, like, a good relationship, where they both grow from being with each other, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Then the scene where they're dancing in the snow.
Yeah.
Was absolutely fantastic.
It was fantastic.
It was just perfectly shot, beautiful.
Now I have a question. Okay, I don't know. This is a little random, but so the band, so like their band of like fighters. So there was that one like native guy. His name was Chief. Is he supposed to be Is he the same guy? Like they had a Native American guy on the Super Friends. Like I think his name was like Apache Chief. Is that who he was supposed to be?
That's what I've seen some people think, and they're saying, Wonder Woman isn't the only demigod, and they're saying, he was too. I don't know if that's anything other than clickbait right now.
I have no idea.
I think the next movie will be Modern Times.
It should be.
So you may not see him unless he just shows up. But I don't see them being able to do his character justice without stomping on a bunch of Native American culture.
Yeah, no, I mean, Native American culture has been just, in American media in general, is just so misrepresented. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, I wouldn't, like, this sounds bad, but, like, I would not trust, like, white writers to tell that kind of story and do it, the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if there's ever a Native movie with a Native superhero, it needs to have a Native writer, because you look in, because they're always presented as savages, and that's just not, it's just not true. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But do you have any other thoughts on Wonder Woman? The effects were good. The movie was beautiful. Soundtrack, Wonder Woman's theme. They remixed the one from BVS. I enjoyed it. It was really good.
Yeah. This one is, Patty Jenkins is gonna be back for the sequel, which is good.
She should be. She did a good job.
A lot of people are upset that Gal Gadot didn't make as much as, like Henry Cavill did.
I read that wasn't true. I read that actually wasn't true. Like, those numbers were false. As far as, like, Cavill was paid a lot less than whatever that paper presented, so.
Yeah, he was paid a lot less than what that one presented because he was a relatively no-name actor.
Yeah, because I'm like, there's no way Cavill made that much because he wasn't really that big of an actor.
Right. So, even if the numbers were true, which they're not, but with Gal Gadot, she's a relatively no-name actor. She's been in 3 Fast and Furious
movies. She was
a supporting role in it.
Yep.
And then she was in the movie with Zach Galifianakis and Isla Fisher a couple years ago. She's not that big of a name of an actor. She is now. She is
now, oh, definitely. I mean, I think we're definitely going to see her in more stuff, like most of these actors. But in my mind, like, I feel like the person who would get paid most to be in these movies would be Ben Affleck.
Yep.
Ben Affleck. Will Smith probably got a big cut in Suicide Squad as well. But, yeah, if you want to move on, we start talking about a couple trailers.
Yes, we got, one side note about movies. I saw Baby Driver.
Oh, you did? I haven't seen it. Was it good?
It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. In terms of, how they've been hyping about the music, it's similar to how Guardians uses the music in their plots, and I thought they did it really well.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a good movie. You should go see it.
Okay, definitely. Alright, so the first trailer, so Spider-Man comes out next week. I obviously haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it on my birthday next Saturday. I've heard really good things about Spider-Man. It always looked like a good movie to me. I mean, I liked Spider-Man's appearance in Civil War, and I think using that as a jumping off point was good. My big fear was that I felt like the trailers just showed way too much of the movie. And that's my fear going into it, that there's not going to be anything that kind of, like, not even surprises me, but, like, excites me. Like, oh, I didn't know they were going to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I haven't been excited about this movie. Granted, I haven't really been excited about any Marvel movie except for, since Age of Ultron heavily disappointed me. Since other than Guardians and then Black Panther, Spider-Man, he's my favorite or second favorite Marvel superhero.
other than Black Panther. Like, I'm excited to see the movie, sort of, because it's Spider-Man. But I think there's going to be too much Tony Stark in it.
You know, well, I've read that he's really not in the movie all that much.
But that's not what they lead you to believe in the trailers.
Well, yeah, in the trailers, he's all over the trailer. So part of it is like, well, if he's not in the movie that much, have we just seen all the Tony Stark scenes already? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is he in it a lot more? So I've heard he's not in the movie that much. I don't know. I think there's a lot more of a Happy Hogan. Like, I think they're using Happy Hogan as an in-between guy. You know what I mean?
That makes sense logistically.
Yeah.
But so Donald Glover's playing Miles Morales' uncle.
Is he?
Yeah, so Miles Morales exists in the universe, although he won't show up for like another 10 years.
Another 10 years or something like that. Yeah, I think eventually they will do Miles, because I think out of all the new like era of Marvel superheroes, I think he's the one that I think his books actually do sell, and we can, Marvel's having issues with their comics selling, but I know that his stuff sells, and Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel stuff sells.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Miles in a movie at some point, but the Marvel movies, on the diversity, scale, they've been super slow, obviously, especially when it comes to their movies. TV's been a little bit better, but their movies, they've definitely been a bit slow. I mean, I'm excited for a Spider-Man. It's a Spider-Man movie, so I think I'm going to go away liking it. I'm curious to see how much was spoiled for me in the trailer, I guess.
Yeah. They're doing a good job with making Vulture look terrifying.
Yeah. I've heard Michael Keaton does a really good job. Batman.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a lot in there that makes me not worried that it's not going to do well, but just worried that it's not what it could be. And then the fact that you have Tom Hardy that's going to be Venom, but he's not going to be attached to the MCU makes me a little upset.
Oh, yeah, that whole, a Venom spinoff. Oh, did you see the Kevin Feige meme?
Mm-hmm.
With the woman, she's like, oh, yeah, it's all going to be in the same universe. And Kevin Feige's like, what you talking about?
Yeah.
See, this whole Sony Marvel deal is just dumb. Dude, just give Marvel the rights, alright?
Fox should too, but,
I know. The thing is, at least with Fox, it's like you can have the X-Men in their own universe separate from all the other Marvel superheroes, and you can make convincing movies and all that kind of stuff, because the X-Men lore is huge, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
X-Men, quite honestly, you could have X-Men in their own comics line and never interact with any of the Avengers, and it would work.
Besides, one or two characters that jump over, yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. I think if you're doing if you have Spider-Man in the main universe, who wants a Venom solo movie with no relation to Spider-Man whatsoever?
Unless you bring back Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, it's just why? And Black Cat and stuff like that is they're Spider-Man characters. It kind of reminds me of the Halle Berry Catwoman movie that had nothing to do with Batman or comics Catwoman whatsoever.
Right.
It reminds me of that, and that's why I'm just does anybody want? Because the whole point, the reason people like Venom is because he was essentially evil Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Jacked up evil Spider-Man.
He's roided out evil Spider-Man with sharp teeth and a tongue, and he was that's I don't know if you ever played the classic Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It used to be on arcade machines sometimes. Yeah, and Venom was always my favorite character.
Oh yeah, for me it was always give me the beam characters, because I'm gonna hit you with that special. I'll get you with the Iron Man, War Machine, and Mega Man, and you're just not gonna like me.
Yeah. But so yeah, I'm sure Spider-Man will be good. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. Like I said, Marvel, they're always in my pocket. But You want to talk about Black Panther? Broke the internet, kind of.
Yes.
All right, so Black Panther's first trailer dropped. I want to say 3 weeks ago.
Yep, during the NBA Finals, Game 4.
Oh my God! Like, if you're on Black Twitter at all, like Black Twitter just exploded.
Yep.
With all there were just so many memes and just all this stuff. So, yeah, we got a taste of what we're seeing in Black Panther. We see most of the characters that have been announced. Obviously we see Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. We see his guardian. What do you is it the Dora Milaje? Is that their name?
Dora Milaje. Yeah.
Dora Milaje. Yeah, we see his guardian women. You know, we see that. We see Angela Bassett in the clip. We see Forrest Whitaker. We see Michael B. Jordan as a villain for I'm pretty sure it's the first time he's been a bad guy in a movie.
Yeah, arguably, unless you want to count Fantastic Four, which they're all bad guys.
Yeah, well, I hate to say it. I think Fantastic Four is just forgotten. You know, Ryan Coogler hooked them up because Ryan Coogler, the director. Coogler, the director, Michael B. Jordan, they're like best friends. So I'm pretty sure as soon as Ryan Coogler got the okay to direct Black Panther, he just called him up, was like, "Hey, Michael B. Jordan, you want to redeem yourself?" You know.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't his fault. But,
no, it wasn't. It wasn't his fault. I mean, when I hate to say it, it's rarely the actor's fault unless the actor is just bad. You know.
Nicolas Cage, looking at you.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Daniel Kaluuya is in it.
Yeah. There was some good Get Out memes.
Yeah.
It was like they were making, what was his name in the movie, Chris? They were like Chris left. This is what, like, Chris went to Wakanda. He went to his homeland after Get Out. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm excited for it. You know, you're gonna have Claw. You're gonna have Killmonger. The only thing is, I would have rather them wait for Killmonger. Unless they decide to bring him back, because Killmonger is essentially an evil Black Panther that always kicks his butt. So we're going to have to see him get his butt kicked in the movie, which I'm fine with. But one of the things that, one of my favorite stories for Black Panther was when, one of the last times that I remember that he fought Killmonger, and, this was right after he got married to Storm. So you had that storyline in it, and then T'Challa has this armor. I think it's called the Thrice Blessed Armor, and then Killmonger had his own and still kicked T'Challa's butt. It was great.
Yeah, there's a lot of villains in that movie. They also have I forget the actor's name, but they're also doing Man-Ape. That's another villain. Right. So I'm wondering why they're cramming all these villains in the one Black Panther movie, but who knows? Maybe they were afraid that they might not get a sequel because, Donald Trump is the president, and they're like, we're just gonna go big and go home. They're just like, because the thing is, like, sometimes with movies, if they don't think they're gonna get a sequel, they'll go all out. If they know that they're probably gonna get a sequel, they'll hold stuff back. Yeah. And then a sequel doesn't happen. Like I think like the Power Rangers movie that came out a few months back, it's kind of in limbo if it's going to get a sequel because they held off for the Green Ranger, right? Which is what everyone wanted to see, and it's like now it's super disappointing. Like, oh man, we might not ever get to the Green Ranger saga, which is like everybody's favorite original Power Rangers thing.
Right, and then you have you. There is a lot of story to tell, but there's a lot that they have their hands tied behind their back. One of the stories I always want to see come on the big screen is it was a storyline where Black Panther's looking for a wife, but all along the way he teams up with Luke Cage and Blade and Dr. Voodoo, and it was fantastic. But, Luke Cage is on the TV show. I'm like, you could bring him over. Dr. Voodoo hasn't been introduced yet, and then they have to bring in...
They're really against doing TV movie crossovers.
Which is dumb.
I don't know. I want them to. I mean, I'm excited for Black Panther. I'm sure it will be good. And, this is, I mean, Wonder Woman was a big movie. I think people were it's touted as being like a big movie for like women and action movies and that kind of stuff. And I think Black Panther hopefully kind of does the same for not just black people but people of color in these sorts of films in general, as far as like us being able to lead and carry a film and be able to pull in a mainstream audience.
Right.
So, yeah, time will tell, but I'm really excited for it. The memes are great.
Yeah, it's getting to a time where things are getting interesting with comic book movies.
Well, the thing is that there's this whole phenomenon right now of comic book fatigue. Because I think there's a lot of people in Hollywood who kind of want the comic book genre to die. Like they feel like there's been too many of these movies and they want us to do other stuff. Because I know some very like filmy people who are like, God, I'm tired of superhero movies. It's ruining cinema and all this kind of stuff. And I think for the superhero genre to stick the landing and stay around, they're going to have to do different things. Like people are sick of origin stories, which at least hopefully the new Spider-Man movie is alleviating some of that. And hopefully Black Panther isn't too much of an origin story, At least convention, because at least he's already a superhero's active, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And these movies, they also need to take us to different sorts of settings. Black Panther's good that it's in Africa and that kind of stuff, in this African nation, which is a setting you don't often see in movies, especially like action superhero movies and that kind of thing. So I definitely think these movies, they have to, I'm trying to think about what I'm trying to say, they have to find ways to take us to different areas and settings to kind of keep the genre interesting and tell different types of stories, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they have to do something similar to what Christian Bale did with The Dark Knight, and even Batman Begins. You have to make it a superhero movie without it being a superhero movie.
Yeah, because there is a movement, I think, in Hollywood and in parts of the media to sort of kill off the superhero genre.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to take more risks, both Marvel and DC.
It's this century's Western.
Yeah, definitely. So, do you have anything else you want to talk about Black Panther? We can go into like life updates. I can talk about VidCon and that kind of stuff.
Did we talk about Thor? We talked about the Thor. Yeah, we talked about the Thor trailer like a podcast or two ago.
I think we talked about the Thor trailer a while ago. Yeah.
Still waiting on that next. Well, yeah, Thor trailer also.
Gladiator Hulk,
because it's August.
Yeah, it comes out in August. Yep. No. I think November actually.
Did it get pushed back to November? I thought it was coming out in August.
I believe it's November. Don't quote me on it.
Oh, I mean, they've all come out in November so far. Yeah, November 3rd. I just Googled it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've all come out in November so far.
Okay.
Still looking forward to the next Last Jedi trailer, which probably won't come for a while, but still.
Yeah, Star Wars is good. I'm trying to think of anything else huge this year. We've gone through quite a few of the movies at this point, actually.
Yeah.
Logan, Guardians, Wonder Woman, Lego Batman.
I think we've just about covered all the movies.
They're supposed to do an X-Men Dark Phoenix saga. That's supposed to be the next thing.
Yeah, we'll see about...
And Deadpool 2.
If only we could just after next week, move forward like 5 months. So then you get Thor 3, which will probably disappoint me, even as low as my expectations are.
At least Natalie Portman's not in it.
Hey, I like Natalie Portman.
Not in the Thor movies, I didn't.
I mean, she just can't catch a break.
I know.
But then, we get Star Wars, and then in 2 months after that, you get Black Panther. Then a few months after that, you have Avengers. Oh, wait, I forgot one. November is Thor and Justice League.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, we have Justice League. God, that's so bad.
Well, yeah, because we haven't gotten anything from it.
Yeah, I have hope. Well, Comic-Con's right around the corner. I'm sure a Justice League trailer will drop then. But yeah, Justice League.
I'm surprised they didn't drop a Wonder Woman.
I am cautiously optimistic.
Oh, this is what's happening with Justice League. I completely forgot until now. They're gonna do. It's gonna be in front of Dunkirk.
Is it?
Yeah, because that's Christopher Nolan. It's gonna be in front of Dunkirk. I think my brother was telling me it's gonna be like the first 5 or 6 minutes, like they did with previous Christopher Nolan movies.
Okay.
I'd take that over a trailer any day.
Yeah, that's true. But so we can leave movie trailers if we want. I'm excited for Justice. I'm excited for Justice League. You know, I can tell by the trailers they at least they're trying to fix the tone they have with BVS. So we'll see what happens. You know. So I went to VidCon.
Yeah, talk about that for a little bit and all the interesting things that came from that.
Oh boy! All right, so I went to VidCon for my second year in a row because I don't really have anything better to do. So if you haven't heard of VidCon, and I've made a ton of videos about it on this channel, so you probably know what it is, but it is a convention for people who are interested in online video. So there are 3 passes. There's a community pass. Those are for people that are kind of like fans of YouTubers and fans of internet creators. You can go to panels and listen to the creators talk about different things about their lives or just different things about the creative process. And some of them perform, you know, because there are people who, you know, sing and dance, they do comedy, all that kind of stuff. So that's there. There's the creator level, which is the level I was on, which is people who are creating online content, and you kind of get to learn, you know, firsthand about how to make better stuff and how to kind of grow like an online brand. And the last track was the industry track, which is for people who work for marketing executives and that kind of stuff, and people who work for companies, and they're trying to use online video in the corporate setting, I guess. So yeah, I went, met some cool people. I met Andre the Black Nerd. It's the second time I've met him. He gave me a shout out on Twitter, so that was kind of cool. I met, do you know Francesca Ramsey?
Yeah, you sent me a picture of her, yeah.
She does the MTV Decoded videos, if she talks about like race and that kind of stuff. She's been on Comedy Central, though the last show she was on got canceled, but I think she has a new show coming out pretty soon. And I met some various YouTubers and creators. Did some networking. You know, I'm hoping to kind of expand on some personal projects. I want to get some guests to come on this podcast, actually.
Right.
Yeah. So that was cool. My sister was there. We got a lot of free stuff. Took pictures. I got some decent advice about how to do online stuff, and especially now that I'm working, I have a little bit of money to kind of throw into some creative projects. So yeah, workshops, networking, went to Disneyland for a day. Pro tip for Disneyland, it's much more fun at night. They're open till midnight. A lot of the families leave. It's not as hot, and lines are shorter. So
yes, you don't have to deal with all the little kids running around, running into your knees.
Yeah, so pro tip for Disneyland.
And Disney World, and Disney World, Disneyland. Wait for the kids to leave.
Yeah. Wait for the kids to leave. So yeah, if you're there if you go at 6 or something, you do like a 6 to 12, you can hit up a lot of rides and do a lot of stuff. Cause I walked around the hot sun at noon and it was miserable, but that's okay. So there was some drama this year. Do you know? Are you familiar with Gamergate and that kind of stuff?
Yep.
This is a geek podcast, so we can talk about that. So the woman who was at the center of that, Anita Sarkeesian, the one who did the feminism in gaming videos and was talking about the representation of women in games. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
She got a lot of harassment and backlash for her videos and that kind of stuff. Well, she was at a panel. They had a panel for women in online video, and a lot of the There are a lot of, this is a pro tip about YouTube. There are a lot of YouTube channels that are like anti-social justice channels. I mean, some of these guys, some of them claim to be liberal, some of them are conservatives, some are like borderline neo-Nazis, you know, who knows, but their whole thing is that they're very anti certain social justice ideas. So they don't like feminism, they don't like Black Lives Matter, they don't like identity politics, period. You kind of get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Like anti-social justice people, and they make these response videos to a lot of the videos on YouTube they deem to social justicey. So they'll go after people like Francesca Ramsey, Decoded videos. They'll go after, like I said, like Anita Sarkeesian. They used to go after, do you know who Lacey Green is?
I keep seeing the name popped up.
She did so she was a YouTuber woman. She did a lot of like sex ed type videos, and then she kind of transitioned into feminism a little bit. She got a lot of heat for it. Now she's kind of like being weird and hanging out with like the anti-feminism crowd. I don't really know what's going on with that. But so there are a lot of these anti-social justice people on YouTube. They all went to VidCon this year. And one guy who was like, he's kind of a ringleader in like the hate that Anita Sarkeesian, video game feminist woman got, and he sat in the front row during the panel she was speaking at, the women on the online women panel, and he didn't necessarily do anything at the panel. He was just there, and she pointed him out like to the crowd, and she called him like a terrible person and like a garbage human and all this stuff. So all this drama went on about it, where there was like, they were having like a flame war on Twitter, and it was just a mess. So it was a mess. And a lot of these like anti-social justice people, they would go around to the, quote unquote, like the liberal panels. Like I went to one that was called like Resist, which was, bunch of libs talking about how they hate Trump, essentially. Or how to fight Trump in this administration. And a lot of them were there. Some of them were asked like dumb questions, and they were just, it was weird. They were just kind of sparking a lot of drama, and a lot of the panelists, I could tell, were very uncomfortable. And some of them like called them out during the panels, and there was just drama because of that. I mean, nothing really affected like me or like the audience, but that was kind of some stuff that went on behind the scenes, because a lot of the anti-social justice YouTubers, what'll happen is that they'll make a video about like some online feminist or online, Black Lives Matter, like whoever, and then that person will end up getting a lot of like trolling on Twitter. They'll get a lot of hate comments on YouTube, hate messages on Twitter, and some people get like doxxed, where someone will find out, where they lived, and they get death threats and rape threats and all these terrible things. So it's just kind of this online harassment has been around for, forever, but it's just kind of this ongoing thing, So that's pretty much the crux of what the drama at YouTube was about.
Yeah, it's just, what people forget is that, comic books and movies have often been a product of the environment around, including, many social progressive movements. And so when these things happen, when it wasn't as, well, I mean, you could even look at it when you had civil rights, things like that, and, I guarantee you there were people mad at that then, but, you look back at it now and people are like, well, of course, that's only natural that, we have a black superhero or things like that, but why are you making this white superhero black? Why don't we make the black superheroes white? And not saying that, okay, yeah, if I take one of the 10 superheroes out there and make one of them black, and then take one of like the 2 black superheroes and make them white, why there's a difference.
It's just this weird issue, because I made a diversity in comics video a while back, but I think that a lot of, and I'm gonna be honest, a lot of white like nerds and geeks, they feel like that they own these franchises. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They feel like they have a right to these franchises, to these characters, more than anybody else.
Right.
And you'll hear people like, dude, you even really read comics? All that kind of stuff. And it's like, dog, I've been a fan of Spider-Man and Batman pretty much, my entire life.
Yeah. I can think of the only one is really iconed by his whiteness would be Superman, but like 50, 60, 70 Superman, where he's raised in Kansas by Mr. and Mrs. Kent, who are farmers.
All American,
like
yeah, I know what you mean.
Right, that's a uniquely white experience, so that makes sense. But you have someone like Spider-Man. Spider-Man could be black.
Spider-Man could be anybody. That's the point.
Yeah, Spider-Man could be anyone.
He wears a mask. He literally could be anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's this issue where people, I think there are a lot of white comic fans who feel like, yeah, they own these franchises, and they're like, oh, these minorities and these women, they're complaining, they're trying to take over our stuff, and it's like, y'all didn't really own it. I mean, ideally, like, the companies own these franchises and characters, but as far as, like, what fans have more of a say in what's good or what's bad, I mean, we have just as much of a say as anybody else, as what show, what movie, what comic, what story was good, what was bad, all that kind of stuff. And it's just such a weird situation where, if I complained about Iron Fist and I was just like, yeah, I just didn't like Finn Jones as an actor, he was too skinny to be Iron Fist to me, you would be like, oh, that's a normal comment.
Right.
But if I was just like, I think the racist casting was bad, everybody's like, oh my god, you social justice warrior.
Right.
Oh my god, you there could never be an Asian Iron Fist. What? So it's just, I mean, I hate to say, the thing is, media is just reflective of issues that are just going on in society today. And so was VidCon, like, at the end of the day, folks are leaving Reddit and 4chan and showing up in real life. So at a certain point, you go to public events, we're going to have to confront, these people that may not agree with us. And I'm hoping, the good part, like, the hopeful part of me is hoping that some of these people, like, deep down, they're decent human beings and you can work stuff out. But I know a lot of them, especially, like, the online YouTubers and the anti-social justice people, a lot of them don't even believe really what they're talking about. But they get money on, like, Patreon and stuff like that to go around and harass, other creators and whatnot. And they've made a business out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then, like, when I was at Star Wars Celebration, I can't think of anything like that was there. Nothing really was political. Not that I can remember.
Usually at, like, normal, like, comic conventions and stuff like that, it's usually not that bad, but VidCon kind of skewed that way just because it's just online video, right? And there were panels designed for, like, politics and whatnot, and I went to there was, like, a black YouTubers panel, and they had, like, the LGBT YouTubers panel, and, the Latin YouTubers panel, and I do think you have stuff like that, it's just going to attract a certain crowd, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like in colleges, people complain, well, why don't we have I don't know what your school had, but we had, like, a black student union, and people are like, why don't we have a white student union, all that kind of stuff, and it's like, you do, it's called the student union, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was sort of the same thing that happened in high school, when we had those clubs. I'm like, you don't need a club for all you guys to get together. It's literally a classroom. There's only going to be one of us. So,
exactly.
Everybody else that's a union.
Yeah. So that drama was interesting. There was also a there were people who came to try to get into VidCon with fake passes. I don't know how they got them, but there were fake passes going around. And some guy tried to get in without a pass. Some, like, I don't know, some, like, Instagram model. He looked like he was about, like, 16 or something like that. And he got in an argument with one of the security guards. And it got recorded on video, and I can send it to you. But in it, the Instagram model's talking to the security guard. He's like, I have so much more money than you, and you should just let me in because I have more money than you, and I look better than you, and I'm dressed better than you, and all this kind of stuff. And it was just like, dude, he literally, like, he's someone, he needs to get punched in the face. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was just like, I'm better than you, and da-da-da-da, and you should just let me in because you're ugly and all that stuff. And I was just like, what a prick. Like, I was just... So, I mean, with online, I mean, I'm assuming you probably know this, but there is, a toxic underbelly to a lot of stuff that goes on in many places.
Most definitely.
You know, and did you hear about, there was some YouTube, I don't know if they were YouTube, but they were like some they were like, I think they were like YouTube pranksters, where there was supposed to be a prank where this girl was supposed to, she was supposed to shoot this book that her boyfriend was holding, and the bullet wasn't supposed to go through the book. But but the bullet ended up going through the book, and she shot her own boyfriend, and he died.
Yeah.
And now the girl, I mean, she's gonna have to go, she'll probably at least get a manslaughter charge.
Yeah, it's gonna be involuntary manslaughter.
Involuntary manslaughter.
Like 5 years.
And it's just like, people are like in just such a rush to be, not even be rich, but I think it's just to be famous, you know. And there's been a lot of challenges and whatnot that have gone viral online where people have gotten hurt. And I'm just like, folks, people just gotta chill out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No amount of fame is literally worth almost dying. And I think especially with like the YouTube like prank community, it's like the worst, because they'll do one thing that goes viral and they constantly have to like up the scale to keep making stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Until you do end up getting hurt or dying.
Right, and then there was one, I don't know what they were, whether they were I think they were prankers, but they got their children taken away from them.
Yeah, the parents with the prankers, because they did something with their kid, and it's just like, dude, it ain't worth it.
Yeah, and so, and one thing, and this is just about YouTube in general, not necessarily about prankers and everything like that, is when you have these YouTubers that have Facebook profiles, and you'll look at their YouTube video and they'll get, like couple million views. While on Facebook they have like 20, 30 million views, but they don't get paid for that.
Oh yeah, well I'm actually starting to put some of my videos on Facebook, because you put stuff on Facebook, since the videos automatically play compared to like linking a YouTube video, Facebook stuff gets seen a lot, much more very quickly compared to YouTube nowadays.
Right.
Because Facebook is also less saturated, which helps. But so it is tough, because a lot of people aren't making money off YouTube anymore. Not based off AdSense. They have Patreons where people can donate money, or they're doing a lot of brand deals and that kind of stuff. But I mean, don't sleep. I'm starting to put stuff, even our podcast, this is going to go on YouTube, because YouTube, I think it works just because it's very shareable.
Right.
Don't sleep on. I think YouTube is good for building an audience, but you're not going to make money off YouTube either.
Exactly.
You can, but I think it's good for building an audience that you could filter into. Hey, go to my Patreon page. Or another hustle people have is T-shirts. So they'll have a quote or something. Their fans like. They'll get T-shirts made up, and you sell a T-shirt for $15. The T-shirt might cost $5 to make. And people make a killing off that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And live streaming is kind of a hot thing now too, on YouTube and Facebook. And there are all sorts of live streaming apps as well.
And Instagram.
Just throwing that out for whoever's listening. Just throwing that out there, kids. Getting the live streaming. I don't know. With online stuff, dude, you just got to be careful. Nothing's worth, if you're in a situation where you're doing something where you could get arrested, or you could get killed, or any of that kind of stuff, just don't do it.
Yeah, it's a smart thing.
It's just not smart, because people do, like, fire stunts and all this kind of stuff, so, dude, just don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth dying. Alright, Chris, do you have anything else you want to talk about? I think we're at about 55 minutes here.
Yeah, no, the Tournament of Power started on Dragon Ball Super, so
we're finally at the Dragon Ball Super tournament. I'm really excited about it.
Apparently Goku's going to get another transformation. Yippee. I'd rather have Gohan save the day.
Yeah, I want Gohan. Gohan needs an upgrade. Frieza's back, so he's supposed to be working with Frost or something like that, so that's interesting.
Which I don't get, because Frost is really weak.
He is really weak. Yeah, so I'm excited for Goku to fight Jiren. He seems cool. They're pegging him. They're pegging him as being the strongest guy, from what I can see.
Yeah.
As being one of the strongest fighters in the tournament. Female Broly. They really...
Yeah.
You saw the episode where she first transformed, right?
Right.
They really... I mean, I think there was a quote that literally sounded like it was from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they're really, like... Because they know, like, the thing is, Broly is a very popular Dragon Ball character, especially in America. But he's not canon. You know, he was never in the manga or the anime. He was in a few movies.
Right.
But any video game, Broly is almost guaranteed to be in it. And I think with the female saying Kale, this is their attempt to make a Broly character canon. You know?
Right.
Because she even has, like, Broly's moveset where he throws the green orbs and that kind of stuff. So they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and then they even, you know, the character's name is Kale, and Broly means broccoli, so, you know.
Yeah. Well, they're all vegetables, but yeah. Cauliflower.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you know, they're not going to destroy all the universes.
No, I don't think. I think that is a bluff. I
mean,
think
you can destroy everyone except for 6, and then Goku will probably save that 11, which is, I think, the one Jiren is from, will be saved.
Yeah. Well, Universe 11, they don't seem like bad guys. You know. The Pride Troopers, they're superheroes pretty much, right? They're like Power Rangers almost.
Right.
It's almost, they almost remind me of like the Ginyu Force. The Ginyu Force were like good guys.
Or if the Ginyu Force were strong.
Yeah, or if they were strong.
Because it's like, oh, look, they're terrifying. And then, you know, Goku comes up and bodies all of them.
Pretty much. But yeah, I'm excited for the tournament. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with Frieza. And a lot of people are disappointed we didn't get Skinny Majin Buu to fight.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they'll ever do anything with that, or if they just had Majin Buu as a fake out in the opening so that Frieza will be like a surprise.
They probably were, but, you know, I feel like if they were going to do that, they shouldn't have had Buu fall asleep in the first one.
Yeah.
Because the whole fact that he fell asleep again is a sort of a cheap.
It is very, very cheap. I know a lot of people, they wanted Cell to come back, but apparently the animators don't want to animate Cell. I've heard because of all the spots on his all the spots in his body. Apparently, it just makes him. Apparently, he's one of the hardest characters to draw and animate, and they didn't want to worry about it.
Well, give him a new transformation.
Give him a new transformation, yeah, something like that.
And get rid of the spots.
Cause I do miss Cell. I mean, I thought he was a good Dragon Ball villain, and it would be nice to see him come back. I mean, we do have the end. We have 17 and 18, I think, kind of representing like that saga of Dragon Ball. But I would have liked to have seen Cell come back.
Right.
Because we've seen Frieza come. I mean, Frieza comes back like every week, you know. Because we had it in the movie and then the anime, and I mean, he had come back in other movies and that kind of stuff.
He was even in GT.
In GT, yeah. So I think like, I mean, Frieza is probably the best Dragon Ball villain, but it's almost like with the Joker and Batman. Like, the Joker is probably one of the best comic villains of all time, but he does not need to be in every Batman thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
I mean, I still think that Cell was the best villain. Cell was the only one Goku didn't beat.
That is true. Goku did not beat Cell. Cell blew him up on King Kai's planet, and he died.
Yep.
I remember that. So yeah, Dragon Ball's pretty good. Attack on Titan, Season 2 wrapped up. So you should check that out if you haven't. And Samurai Jack finished the series. It was really bittersweet. No spoilers. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. It was just like, dude, Jack can never win.
He wins and he doesn't.
He wins and he doesn't. I mean, at least he did defeat Aku. So
yeah, they had to.
They had to, but like, you know, Ashi died. That was sad.
You said no spoilers and then you spoiled it.
I know. Well, I didn't know if you had seen it, so whoops. I'll put a warning. I'll put a warning in the video. I'll retroactively put a warning. This is audio only. I'll retroactively put a warning for the Samurai Jack finale.
It says no spoiler, but then it'll be like, caution, there's a spoiler.
Yeah, something like that. Because I don't know. This probably won't go up for a little while because I have some other videos planned. But, yeah, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Yep. So, yeah. If you enjoyed this podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe. I guess we will see you again probably in the next month or so, right, Kris?
Yeah, after Spider-Man, and then probably we'll have some more developments on
Comic-Con stuff.
Comic-Con stuff, and then all the superhero shows.
Yeah.
Should be getting us some tidbits.
Yeah, like, is Arrow going to be a show next? Is Arrow just going to be Oliver? Is everyone else dead?
Well, I'd be mad that Diggle was, but happy if Felicity was.
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe they'll just put Felicity in a wheelchair again.
Oh, gosh.
Until Curtis...
slap everybody else that's
God, that was a terrible plot line. Oh, my God.
Yep.
Until they put a magic microchip that makes her not walk. I mean, that makes her walk.
Yep.
Because that's how paralysis works.
That's exactly how paralysis works.
Alright, well, we're signing off. We'll catch you all next time.
Peace.